So I've been thinking a lot about karma myself in kind of that sense. And what I understand it to be, if life is the continuation of death, right? Then, or if death is a continuation of life, then that means when we go into the next phase of life, from what I've read, is we interact with supposed spirit guides who kind of guide us back into deciding to come back into the world. And the decisions that we make, because ultimately everything comes down to free will, everything comes down to our decisions. You know, if time is just a concept, that means before we are born into our life, we technically know all of the possible outcomes before we decide to live. Because I'm assuming when you're in Deathland and you're in kind of like the allness of it all, then you know everything naturally because you're just in the oneness of the universe. You just have the infinite knowledge with you as well. By that understanding, if we live a very negative life and that continues to be our understanding going into the afterlife, then I think there is an element of karma that plays into who you become in the next life. Like, I think about my life and kind of who I am and who my parents are, kind of like coming into this life. The more I learn, the more I kind of put together pieces as to, why I would have come here in this life for this reason with the certain parents that I believe I would have chose, because I don't know why I wouldn't have chose them, because they took me to such incredible things as a kid that shaped the person who I am now. It's interesting how these things kind of all aligned, and maybe them taking me there had nothing to do with the person I became. Maybe I was already that person beforehand. You don't believe in reincarnation. It's tough. I guess that's the question that kind of leads into the question of what do you think happens when we die? If thought is energy, if we are one with God, like, to me, my understanding of death these days is that death is kind of the continuation of life, and that heaven, hell, I'm on the same boat. Heaven, hell, I think that's all in our minds. Jesus said it himself. He says the kingdom of God is within you, and heaven and hell are just kind of in our perception and how we see the world. The only thing there, like outside of heaven, hell, God, everything, I think the only one for me is reincarnation, in which I do think that is a thing. But I think our goal as spiritual beings is to learn how to ascend past reincarnation. Because when we die, there's going to be, from what I understand of the Earth as a prison planet, then there will be spiritual kind of teachers or guides that we meet in death who try and guide us back into a life on Earth to get us to fix sort of past problems that we had. And I don't know if that's the case, obviously. I'm learning there.